Amanda Fink here with another online lesson. Today's lesson is called Embracing Your Leftiness. Now let me be clear, this lesson is meant for both left-handed and right-handed players. I want to give lefties maybe some tools that I feel like they should be working on to highlight their leftiness when they play their matches. And right-handed players, Buggles. I want you to be able to maybe understand what it's like to play a left-handed player, maybe some things you should be thinking about so you're ready when you're playing a lefty and you're walking out onto the court. So let's go over the basics first. So if I am a right-handed player, right, I'm trying, most of the time as coaches, we tell you to try to swing a little bit around the outside of the ball. And again, if I weren't trying to straighten it out or anything, my swing would naturally want to go from right to left, right? So I'm hitting around the ball and then my racket is finishing over my shoulder. It naturally pushes the ball from right to left. So my ball is edging towards the left. As a left-handed player, it's the opposite. So if I'm going around the outside of the edge of the ball, okay, and I'm doing a natural swing, my ball wants to go from left to right, okay, because my swing naturally goes that way. So you want to use this to your advantage. So why is that useful? As a left-handed player, think about most of the time where you're hitting the ball. So there are a couple more players out there today that are developing strong backhands and claim to have stronger backhands than their forehands. But I would say that most of the time we're still running into a majority of players that have stronger forehands than backhands. So as a left-handed player, we naturally make the ball move more into a right-handed player's backhand. And the same thing on the serve, correct? So if we're doing, again, right-handed player, right, going around the ball, same thing. I'm still making the ball go from right to left if I'm naturally serving. So it's because my racket, again, continues to go the opposite direction from where I start. So with like the left-handed player, serving, right? Shouldn't say right and left in the same phrase, correct? Left arm is going up to the ball, again, still making the ball progress from left to right. So a lot of the time, our leftiness is making the ball travel into a right-handed player's backhand, which is generally speaking for a lot of players, their weakness. So I want to talk about 3 shots as a left-handed player that I think we should be working on to kind of emphasize that, to break down players' backhands. My college coaches are laughing because I know they probably know exactly which 3 shots I'm going to talk about, because as a left-handed player, they are what I probably made my entire tennis playing career off of. So I'm not saying these 3 shots should be what every lefty does, like their entire game style. I'm just saying that I feel like as a left-handed player, these are things that are good tools to have in your toolbox. Number 1, everyone who has played me knows what number 1 is. Number 1 is a high forehand topspin loop to a player's backhand. Notice I said the word loop and not lob. A lob is a ball where you're hitting a high ball, but the ball has no real spin. It's high, but there's no real spin on it. If anything, there might be a little underspin on it. A loop is still a pretty high ball, but it has you've increased your racket speed so much that there is a ton of top spin riding on the ball, so that when it bounces, it jumps back up. As a left-handed player, if I can hit a huge top spin forehand to somebody's backhand and it jumps, I mean, I don't care if your backhand is your strength. Raise your hand if you like to hit a really high backhand, higher than, head height. Probably no one is raising their hand. It's a really effective shot to be able to place the ball really high to someone's backhand. So if you can perfect or at least work on that top spin loop, it's a really great tool to have, especially if you're on, from being on offense to being on defense when you're in trouble. Really effective shot, and the height gives you time to recover back to your starting point. Shot number 2 is a forehand short angle. Because with the forehand short angle, okay, so same thing concept, I'm still hitting a cross-court ball to someone's backhand, but an angle is, so if I'm right, we talked about earlier about getting around the outside edge of the ball to make the ball go, help make the ball go across. if I'm doing that to an extreme measure, making the ball go way across with tons of topspin short into the service box, now the ball's jumping out to the side. So now someone's going to have to hit a running backhand, low running backhand, and a lot of times players will have to pop the ball up, again, even if they have strong backhands. So that's another really, really effective shot that I love to work on with my lefties. The third shot is a serve. So if you're a lefty, a lot of times as coaches, we spend time, developing a flat serve. And then we spend a ton of time doing, for a second serve or a spin serve, we spend a lot of time on a top spin or a kick serve. And those are great serves. But if you're working with a left-handed player, I really recommend that you develop their slice, okay? Because if I'm hitting, and lefties, if you haven't worked on a slice already, I would. Just because, again, when I'm hitting a left-handed serve and I'm going around the outside of the ball, making it go towards someone's backhand, right, with a serve, that's awesome. I'm now making someone return right off of their backhand. When my serve hits as a slice, since I'm coming around the ball, once it bounces, it's going to, again, jump out to the side. So now someone's having to stretch to hit a wider backhand. And in addition to that, on the serve, same serve, still a slice, but also that serve where we're aiming into somebody's body. I don't think we work on body serves enough, and I think they're the most effective serve in the toolkit, actually, okay? Because, honestly, it is hard to hit a stretch shot, but I think it's even harder for players. At least with a stretch shot, they have room. The ball is on the side of them. But a ball coming into your body is really, really difficult to return. And especially for lefty spin, right? Spinning into someone's body and towards their backhand, that's rough. So if you have a chance and you haven't worked on these tools, or you've started to, keep developing them, because as a left-handed player, they're super effective against right-handed players, especially ones that tend to have weaker backhands. So keep developing, those slice serves and those top spin forehands, as they'll, really, really help break down another player's shot. Okay, if you're a right-handed player, so I just got done talking about all the things that we're trying to do to you to make your lives miserable, right? Okay, so just understand those things, that the main part is to, when you walk on the court, know if you're playing a left-handed player, that the ball, instead of moving from right to left, is going to start moving from left to right. That's the most important thing to understand, so you don't panic. The ball is going to be moving in a different direction. When you start playing, it will take you a game probably to adjust to the change of direction, unless you're always practicing with a left-handed player and are used to it. And that's okay. Don't beat yourself up for having a rough game because you're adjusting to the change of the ball. It's totally fine. Just make sure you have that understanding of the direction change so that you can adjust to it faster. I have to say that even as, a left-handed coach, when I feed, you're not supposed to have a ton of, any spin really when you feed most of the time as a coach, but it's hard for me to eliminate all of it. So sometimes even my players will have a hard time with just my feed alone because of the change of direction in the ball. So it is a tricky thing to adjust to, but just give it some time and just have the understanding of what it is, right? And lefties, I hope you will use the tools that we went over today to use in your matches and to help you improve as a player. See you later.